football that he was watching. So how does this even compare? There's no way. If there was any indication, or Souness was trying to imply or compare that, let's say the Women's World Cup to the Men's World Cup, and then he was to say, "Come on, guys, let's face it. Like, the men's football, this is the real football, as opposed to the women's football." Then you have every right to attack his comments, but there's nothing there. And some of us are just sick and tired of everything has to be questioned or made into something. There's nothing there. Come on. There's nothing there, madam. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. What I did find a bit awkward, right, was this is just my opinion, right? So if you just tune in, I'm just having a bit of a rant. Off the back of the weekend fixtures, the match between Chelsea and Tottenham. And Graham Souness was a pundit on there, and he was talking about the game, and he was talking about how the referee handled the sport, because it's full of passion. You watch the Premier League; it's full of passion, emotions flying high, and he just said, at the end of the day, it's a man's game, so that's to be expected. And the fact that he said that he's received backlash, and he's refused to apologize. And I agree with him. I agree with the fact that he refused to apologize. Now, what I thought was a bit strange, and I made a note of it. Two things, right? Two things. So for the entire game, it was Graham Souness and Karen Carney, okay, who were the two guests, the two pundits, plus the presenter. And I mean, look, I know that Carney played for England. Souness played it in the Premier League. Carney played football. At the end of the day, football is football. Football is universal. However, there are standards and there are levels to which individuals play or reach. I don't think that what Souness said there was anything wrong. But it did feel a bit uncomfortable watching when Jamie Carragher joined them. Okay, it felt a bit uncomfortable to watch, simply because I felt like Carney was overpowered. To be honest with you, I felt like she was overpowered, and it was a bit uncomfortable. It felt really, really uncomfortable because these two guys are have strong personalities, Carragher and Graham Souness. But Carney, she held her own. And for me, what I would have liked for Eniola to have touched on, being, she's also a black person, what I would have liked for her to touch on was not this comment about Graham Souness saying that this is a men's game at the end of the day. Well, not so much about that, but Carragher's submission on Koulibaly's goal or his performance. I'm just trying to get you the quotes because I actually tweeted this, right? I tweeted this and I even shared it on my Facebook page because I thought it was actually it was disgusting, to be honest with you. And I said that these pundits never cease to amaze me with their perpetual biased nature. Jamie Carragher just said Koulibaly is a good defender. So let me just give you a bit of a background, so put things into context. So Koulibaly plays for Chelsea. He's a defender, and he happened to have, scored the first goal for Chelsea. Fantastic goal, by the way. And Jamie Carragher comes on, and then he's saying that, the usual description of black players: big, strong, powerful, beast. These are the adjectives used to describe footballers in the Premier League and also, the leagues below. He said he's strong, he's a good defender, but Koulibaly is awkward on the ball. And for him to score such a goal surprised him. Then I thought to myself, see, I don't know, maybe it's just me because I've been involved in the game in the past, and I've experienced certain things, and so I pay really attention not to the game that I'm watching, but to what commentators are saying or pundits are saying. But this is the same Carragher who would then go on to say that the likes of Harry Maguire from Manchester United, who is absolutely useless, by the way, he would call him a top defender. So I would have liked to see that being picked up by Eniola Aluko. I don't think Graham Souness said anything that's warranted any backlash. I mean, look, let's face it, guys. It wasn't that much of a big deal, But this is the world we're living in these days. People are just quickly to just jump on the bandwagon and trying to use everything that they can to throw stones against you. But on this particular episode, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eniola Aluko. I'm sorry. And as much as I admire you, I admire your tenacity and the fact that you're a great ambassador to football and in women's football at large. I'm sorry, but your comments here will not stick. I'm sorry. All right, that's enough ranting from me. Let's move on. Okay, let's look at other stories. That we need to discuss. Anyway, so let's look at the newspaper headlines. And then after that, I'll bring you more on a pilot scheme that, has been tried and tested to see if the 4 days a week of working would work. How lovely would it be to just work 4 days a week? Work 4 days a week doesn't affect your salary, and you have enough time to to relax, to chill, with loved ones and family, and to be able to do other things, to have a social life at that. We'll bring you more updates on it. But now let's look at the newspaper headlines here in England. We begin with the Eye. The Eye newspaper reports on the UK becoming the first country in the world to authorize a new COVID vaccine targeted at both the original COVID virus and the new Omicron variant. The paper notes that the vaccine approval comes after concern a damaging COVID wave could hit the autumn, delaying NHS efforts to cut waiting times and tackle the backlog caused by lockdown. Okay, so there's a new vaccine that will be able to deal with the first COVID and also the new mutated Omicron variant. Okay, interesting. I wonder if it means you don't need to, have any more boost if you've already had a COVID jab. I don't know. The Times, over 50s to be called for new COVID jab in weeks. I mean, we're slowly coming out of summer and approaching autumn. And yesterday, actually, speaking of over 50s, due to the shortage of workers, I think this was down to the lockdown. Obviously, during COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. And especially if you do recall, when the lockdown took place and some businesses were receiving subsidies or funding from the government, some sectors did not get anything, and especially the hospitality sector, hotels, restaurant, like a lot of them lost their job. A lot of people in the hospitality sector lost their jobs, and since the lockdown was uplifted, there's been a shortage of people going back, especially in the hospitality sector, and restaurants, including McDonald's. And you tend to realize that a lot of, if you go to McDonald's, not even just McDonald's, KFC, a lot of the fast food restaurants, the workers there are young people. But now, according to reports I read yesterday, McDonald's are actually now looking to employ people over 50, no, 50 and above, I think. Yeah, that's what it was. And, the new advert that they'll be putting out soon, we'll move away from the old cliche advert of young, energetic people to include, experienced and older people. So just watch out. The next time, in a few months, next time you pull up to McDonald's, you see some old people also working there. And of course, this will help, the GDP massively, because if there's a shortage in the labor market, in the labor force, um, and a particular group of people who also contribute to the GDP are not working, then obviously the economy will suffer massively. The Daily Telegraph. The Daily Telegraph writes that the Royal Navy is planning to relinquish its role in charge of dealing with migrants crossing illegally to the UK on 31st January next year. It comes 4 months after Boris Johnson brought in the first naval vessel to patrol the channel. The paper reports government sources say that the Royal Navy is planning to hand back control to the border force. MPs have complained policing the channel turned the Navy into a super taxi service for the migrants, it adds. They're never going to be, they won't be able to sort out this migrant issue, will they? They won't. And sadly, it's the migrants that will have to pay. The Daily Mail. Air chaos to hit half term. Air chaos to hit half term, headlines the Daily Mail. As it reports, London's Heathrow Airport has extended its passenger cap to end of October. It means the airport will not lift its limits on the number of passengers flying from the airport due to staff shortages. The paper says it means up to 1 million seats could be axed from airlines' schedules. The Daily Express. Conservative leadership contender Liz Truss says she will reject Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon's demand for another Scottish independence vote. The paper adds Ms. Truss' campaign to become Prime Minister was helped by polls, putting her 4 points ahead of Labour's leader, Sir Keir Starmer, as the best person to lead the country. Okay. And I don't think the Scottish National Party will stop this referendum agenda. I mean, they did it the first time, they lost, but I think post Brexit, they could easily persuade a lot of people to break the union, and they will not stop. They will keep pushing. They will keep pushing. They will keep pushing. And I think eventually it will happen. The Guardian. Ministers are considering cut redundancy pay for civil servants, which would coincide with the plan to cut 91,000 Whitehall jobs, the Guardian reports. The paper says that the move sets up bitter confrontation that unions warn may lead to legal and industrial action. A consultation document says changes to the redundancy payment would create significant savings on the cost of exit. Let's look at the Mirror. A dying mother has is forging days out with her 2 children because she can't afford them due to the cost of energy bills, the Mirror reports. Tammy Prescott tells the paper the bills are robbing them of happy times. Wow. The Metro, and this story, I think this story first came out probably last year or the year before. Obviously, the name was withheld, right? This is to do with Manchester City's player being accused of raping 3 girls and also a number of sexual assault cases against him. The Metro is leading. The Metro is among the newspapers to report on the Thursday of trial of Manchester City football player Benjamin Mendy. He and his co-defendant, Louis Saha Maturi, please, this is not Louis Saha of Crystal Palace, okay, are accused of rape. Both men deny all charges against them and say the encounters were consensual. The Sun also leads with the same story. Mendy raped 3 women in 24 hours, 13 sex victims of Star and his friend. The Sun shows a picture of Mr. Mendy outside Chester Crown Court. It reports that the prosecution alleges some of the alleged victims believe they were locked in rooms while the claimed abuse happened. Oh boy. This story ain't going nowhere. I think the trial will last for about 15 weeks. Daily Star, City Star in Dock, also leading with the same story. This has very little to do with football. It is another chapter in a very old story. Men who rape and sexually assault women because they think they are powerful. With predator in quotation mark. This is a statement from the Crown prosecution team. And finally, the Financial Times. The Financial Times leads on China cutting a crucial lending rate in a bid to boost growth amid repeated COVID lockdowns and housing sector in free fall in the country. The paper explains the cut to the medium-term lending rate highlights deepened anxiety in Beijing as it tries to combat a decline in consumer demand triggered by its zero COVID policy, cash-strapped property developers, and slowing global growth. This Mendy case is not going anywhere anytime soon, and already, the what is being propagated about him is what has always been propagated about footballers. The fact that due to the the lavish lifestyle, the luxury lifestyle that comes with football, being known, and the money and everything. So it more or less makes them feel that they're powerful and they're above the law, and they use their fame or their influence to try to get whatever it is that they want. Well, this is the line of argument from the Crown prosecutor. Anyway, right, that's the newspaper headlines here. When we come back, we will talk about the 4-day trial of working. Okay, of working. The 4-day trial of working in the UK that did not actually work. But of course, then we'll bring you stories across the continent of Africa. One being Kenya's election. William Ruto is the 5th president of Kenya. Well, he has been elected. He will be sworn in the coming days. We'll be speaking to Julius Belito. However, some of the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, some of his people are actually saying that there were some fraudulent incidents during the elections. That's probably it's probably not the first time we hear this when it comes to elections, and it's probably not going to be the last time. But nevertheless, we'll bring you more on that very, very soon. My name is Jones Award. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show. The time now is 8:47. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our discussion. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Yo, Ghana for you want English approach my moha. Ya sweady. Yenya emranimfo a won akwadare wo emranimu a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer for entimi nuanom mumyemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo Fortwell solicitors emranimu akukudrofo se watena ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa ka won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyom kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omu wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu poni se no consultation fee.
Fortwell Solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadia Basa. It's not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Nina omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa woye entrepreneur. Mon contacti Base. Entrepreneur no che say obia ebia wa business. Ebia woye che. But pesa woye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey, Anaya Papa, Kwame Despite. Base, Bitmama, Sa Diano, Abim, one your experts, our coaching, and a mentoring. And as all person will start our business, base for better how our UBCI expanding business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for a Base.
073 99 867 417. I repeat, 073 99 867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Welcome back to the program. The time now is exactly 8:53. Yes, 8:53. I was just waiting for the seconds to change. Anyway, the time now is 8:53. Now, coming up after 9 a.m., hopefully we'll be speaking to Julius then to talk about Kenya's election. We were meant to speak to Julius yesterday, but for some reason we couldn't get him. Right? Now, this is the question I'm asking this morning, and I want you to send me your comments, okay? Your thoughts. This is to do with the president of Ghana. Now, just to give you a brief background, so to put a bit more flesh on the bone, as it were. What I'm asking this morning is Kufuor Foundation CEO tells President Akufo-Addo to sack Ofori-Atta, Agyemang, Manu, Afriyie-Akoto. I'm asking, do you agree? And the reason why I'm asking that question is this. And this comes off the back of the president of Ghana's reluctance to reshuffle his ministers. Professor Agyemang is the latest influential individual to join calls for a ministerial reshuffle in the Akufo-Addo government. The president, in his defense, said that opposition NDC and jobless people are those calling for the move because they want to destabilize his administration. However, Professor Agyemang is of a different view. According to him, if not for anyone at all, the health, the finance, and agriculture ministers deserve to be reshuffled out of government. He insisted that three are loud calls for the three ministers, Agyemang, Manu, Ofori-Atta, and Dr. Afriyie-Akoto, to step aside. He argued that they have been underperforming in the last 6 years. And I quote him, okay? He said, if you put your ears to the ground, what we hear popularly in the health sector, implying that the Minister of Health, as well as the Minister of Agri, these two, including the finance, are prominent ones, end quote. The former UN senior governance advisor also asked the president to assess the performance of his ministers. According to Professor Agyemang, this will inform President Akufo-Addo to take strategic decisions that will help reshape his government. And I quote him again. He says, there are some ministers that we do not even hear about at all. You don't know whether they are working or not. And there are some ministers, when you see them, they look very tired. You don't know whether they are tired, and some have health issues. He went on to say, so all these could be factors that I think the president wants to make a move he can take account to inform his decision, he explained. So I'm asking you, do you agree? Here's my personal opinion on the issue. And of course, I need to have an opinion. If you agree or disagree, I also like to hear from you, okay? Because, like I said, opinions are like noses. Everyone's got one. Some small, some big, some in the middle, some like Acrobato's one. Anyway, back to the issue at hand here. Right, this is my take. And I think the first question, before you call in to answer this question, okay, or maybe you might want to add to what you've already got in mind, is look at Ghana's economy, right? One. And then look at some of these sectors. And look at the state of Ghana right now. So, according to Professor Agyemang, Minister for Agri, Minister for Health, and Minister for Finance, these three positions, these three ministers need to go. And you know why? I agree. for me, the person that should have been, should have stepped aside, personally, I think, would be the finance minister and the health minister, simply because the way in which, Ghana, the economy of Ghana, and the hardship, and first and foremost, the Minister of Finance, Ofori-Atta, saying that Ghana will not seek an IMF bailout. Then all of a sudden did a U-turn and Ghana's gone for IMF bailout. And then secondly, they've gone to seek more money. First it was 1.5 billion, now it's 3 billion. The cost of living in Ghana, it's just, they just need new faces, okay, new ideas. I just feel like Ken Ofori-Atta has exhausted his ideas, and as such, it needs to be put, to push aside. Secondly, the Minister for Health. The, my issue with him was the way in which he handled the whole COVID situation, where he had made a deal with an individual to supply the COVID vaccine, where the individual, the prices for the COVID vaccines were inflated, and also the amount that Ghana was due did not come to fruition. And it's just mind-boggling as to why such a person is still at post. And by the government, or not the government, by the president failing or refusing to reshuffle his ministers, tells me one thing. Tells me that Nanado thinks that his government or his ministers are really, really performing. It's either that, or he's not critically assessing his ministers. I'll be back right after this. Anyway, so for people listening on radio, we're taking a quick break on radio, but Facebook, people are still on there, so we will continue. I want to hear your take because I'm really, really interested in what is happening in Ghana. Your take on it right now. Things are very, very difficult, and one would assume, especially as a government, this is his second term. He's going into what, 7th year, and soon the 8 years will be up. And after 6 years, the government, there's been no reshuffling. Clearly, Nanado must feel, as I said earlier, that his ministers are performing. What do you think? Let's hear your take on this.
Yo, Ghana for a what English approach my moha. Ya sweady. Yenya emranimfo a won akwatare wo emranimo a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer for entimi nuanom momyemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo fortwell solicitors emranimu akukudrofo se watena ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa ka won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa asetena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpo ne se no consultation fee
Fortwell Solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday, Beyonce, Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
Welcome back to the program. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Ewa. We're here to 10 o'clock this morning. Keep your thoughts and comments coming in. I will read them out, okay? I will read out your comments. So keep them coming in. Now, let's talk a bit about Kenya. I'm not talking about Kenya because, A, I've never been to Kenya, for starters. And 2, it's one of these East African country that is everything about it. My first introduction to Kenya wasn't through politics. It was actually through sports, athletics, right? And they're known for the long distance running, and also Kenya, from what I've been told and what I've seen, Kenya is a beautiful country. But just like a lot of the African countries, elections sometimes can become crucial in some parts of the continent. But yesterday, the electoral governing body in Kenya finally announced the new president of Kenya. And his name is William Ruto. He's 55 years old. But before we continue with our discussion, let's take a quick listen to this report here. Okay. We're trying to get the report up. Just a few seconds. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right.
Kenya's Electoral Commission declared on Monday Deputy President William Ruto as winner of last week's presidential elections. The announcement, however, was marred by 4 other senior election officials of a total of 7 who disowned the results, claiming the counting was too opaque. Almost a week after the vote, the Independent Electoral Commission was under intense pressure to announce the results. On August the 9th, 22.1 million voters were called to the polls to choose Kenya's 5th president.
Okay, so we're trying to get Julius online to actually give us an update as to what is happening. And also, as I've been saying, even though Ruto has been declared as the winner of the Kenya's 2022 election, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga's chief agent, alleges electoral fraud. Let's take a quick listen to this report here.
Kenya's presidential election contender Raila Odinga's chief agent alleged electoral offences after Kenya's Electoral Commission declared Deputy President William Ruto the winner on Monday.
We have intelligence and reports that their system was penetrated and hacked, and that some of the IBC officials actually committed electoral offenses, and some of them ought to have been arrested if they were not arrested.
The announcement was preceded by a declaration from the vice chair and 3 other election officials who disowned the result due to what they described as the opaque nature of the final phase of the process.
We cannot take ownership of the results that is going to be announced because of the opaque nature which these results have been handled. We'll give details of this opaque nature very soon.
Candidates have now 7 days to file any challenge over the election results. The Supreme Court will then have 14 days to produce a ruling.
Okay, so not everything was, smooth in the election. I mean, I think there was, anticipation that this could potentially happen. So off the back of, the declaration of the results, as we heard there, one of the electoral body's members saying that the counting was opaque. The Kenyan Electoral Commission's deputy chairwoman, we heard that, who says that 4 of its 7 members have rejected upcoming presidential election results, saying the independent body was under intense pressure after 6 days of waiting. And I quote again, because of the opaque nature of the process, we cannot take responsibility for the results that will be announced. So my guess is she said this before the pronouncement of the winner of the election. Surrounded by 3 other commissioners calling on Kenyans to calm down, she said this during her announcement to the press yesterday. She then went on to say people can go to court, and for that reason, we call on Kenyans to be peaceful because the rule of law will prevail. Okay, so this wouldn't be the first time, that electoral disputes will end up in the Supreme Court. This won't be the first time that will happen. Crikey. This thing called democracy. I mean, look, for members of the independent electoral body of Kenya to speak out needs to be commended, and I'm sure a lot will come out. As we go on into, I'm sure that the opposition would definitely escalate this and take it to the Supreme Court. And obviously, if the independent electoral body of Kenya, a member, has actually come out to say that they're not happy with the way that the countings were being conducted, then there's a strong case for the opposition. Normally, it's the opposition party that makes a claim and takes the case to court, and then the electoral body has to come and prove, that everything was done accordingly. But here we are. This is not just from the opposition, but also a member of the independent electoral body of Kenya. She's the vice president, Juliana Cherera, her name is, has said that due to the opaque nature of the process, we cannot take responsibility for the results that will be announced. So, due to the opaque nature of the counting, they will not take responsibility. And this will definitely find its way to the Supreme Court. Now, you'd be thinking, what's next for Kenya? Well, I'm thinking, what's next for Kenya? Let's take a quick listen to this report. Because there's a lot that's going to unfold in the coming days.
The just concluded Kenya's election has elicited mixed reactions following the chaotic declaration of the former Deputy President William Ruto. A number of lawmakers and leaders were flanked out of the Bomas of Kenya, where the National Tally Center was located. Ruto, on the other hand, promised to work with everyone and admitted that he will not seek revenge against anyone in his government.
There is no room for vengeance. There is no room for looking back. We are looking into the future. I am acutely aware that our country is at a stage where we need all hands on deck to move it forward.
After the declaration, Nairobi was quiet in the night, with people in the streets appearing hopeful of a better future, despite violent protests in his defeated rival strongholds, claims of rigging, and a split in the commission that oversaw the vote. There is peace because even where I am standing right now and where I have come from, people are happy, no one is fighting, and there is no unrest. Everyone is happy and peaceful after these elections. Kenyans are now Wasa. There is no fighting amongst each other. Why would I fight you? You are my brother. We work with all tribes, Luos, Kalenjins, and many other tribes. There is no reason for fighting, and the country should move forward. In Kisumu, in the western parts of Kenya, where is a stronghold of Kenyan presidential candidate Raila Odinga, angry supporters took to the streets, hurling stones, setting fire to tires, and building roadblocks after his rival William Ruto was declared the winner of the Kenya's close-fought presidential poll. The opposition have not yet given any clear indication of what they intend to do next following the proclamation.
That was a report there from African News. It's interesting times ahead for Kenya. And, in as much as we promote democracy and we all love the fact that, due to the nature or the dynamics of Africa and the many tribes, democracy is a bridge. Okay? It's a bridge. It's meant to be a bridge. And democracy will be tested. And that's how you are able to strengthen your democracy. And yesterday I saw footage on Sky News, and the Western media will always focus on the negativity. Will always focus on the negativity. But we heard from real Kenyans. You heard from Kenyans saying that there's no point to attack anybody. It's election. We're all happy. We work with one another. Whatever tribe we are, we all work. We're all interconnected. So there's not going to be any violent nothing. Anyway, joining us this morning to discuss this further is Julius Beluto, a journalist and also a broadcaster. Julius, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We saw the declaration of the 2022 Kenyan election results yesterday. First and foremost, let me get your reaction on the results.
Oh, my reaction to the results. Pretty impartial in terms of my work that I do as a journalist. So I never had that attachment to any particular candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting kind of election, which was very close, and it was difficult to tell exactly who was to win.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very clear. But even the announcement happening that way,
Mm-hmm.
there was those who thought Raila Odinga was the one to win, as of course when tallying of votes began some time back, some media houses tended to show him ahead of Ruto, and then sometime Ruto will catch up, Ruto will pass a bit, and then it's just be like neck and neck kind of a situation. So a lot of Raila supporters were disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
As in terms of personal observation, I give credit to Kenyans who had a very peaceful election. It went very peacefully. And also a lot of them went to really vote, which is very important. And then also for us still keeping peace. At the end of the day, election is just an election. You wake up the day after, you realize that if you are not very rich, you wouldn't be rich just because your presidential candidate has won.
Yes.
Actually, they may not even know you. So you have to keep on doing the work that you do.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that I quite like about Kenyans, because they're back to work. Of course, Aggrieved Party, Azimio La Umoja, Azimio One Kenya, Raila's party. Of course, they are saying they are going to court to challenge that announcement. But what caught attention of a lot of people as well was to see for IEBC, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission officials, actually commissioners, very senior, 4 of them, just before the announcement, telling the country, we are not going to be part of this announcement. We don't want to take responsibility of this announcement, this winner. We are like, we want the country to know we don't support this. And they let their boss.
And this is what I was going to come on to, Julius, because it is strange, isn't it? Because usually, under normal circumstances, it's the opposition that will cry foul, that there were certain practices that did not go accordingly, and as such, they're escalating the matter to the Supreme Court for it to be determined if truly the elected president is the one that actually won the election. But to hear the vice president, Juliana Sherera, come out to say that they will not be held responsible for the opaque nature of the processes is astonishing, isn't it?
It's very strange. Many people are talking about, okay, the results were on a public portal and accessible, but it is the same results that different media outlets came out with different results. So sometimes they took Kenyans' emotions in a blinking mode, whereby you blink and when you don't blink, you close your eyes, your candidate is ahead. When you blink again, the other one is ahead. And it's just it was very weird experience to the level that in the end, to justify why media outlets were giving different results, the IEBC commission says, oh, okay, fine, it's just because they are tallying in different times. You see, they're just tallying in different times. They can't tally at the same time. I mean, it was amazing because it came to a situation even where the Media Council of Kenya was just intervened, and it was like, if the media can't speak with one voice, maybe it's just about time to shut them up, because they're confusing Kenyans.
Even I was confused yesterday.
Raila is ahead, Ruto is ahead.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. When I came in yesterday, I said, listen, when I check different polls, you have Ruto ahead, then you have Raila ahead. So I don't know what is actually going on. But what I do know was it was a very close election.
Indeed, it was. But then again, even in terms of tabulation of results in different formats, there was a map painted blue to show the color that Azimio Raila's party was, and also yellow for William Ruto's party, UDA. But when you look into these colors as well, you see this, although Ruto tended to win a lot within the central province of Kenya and also Rift Valley province, Rift Valley area of Kenya. Then again, you see Azimio won a lot across different other parts of the country. And by the way, they were leading with 180 MPs out of 290.
Wow.
So a lot of people thought, yeah, this is it. Raila's party has won. And with all this confusion, you can forgive Kenyans for feeling that way. I saw cartoons being, drawn later, whereby some people waited for results. They were tired. They just painted the whole map of Kenya yellow. Others painted it blue. I say, I'm tired. and also some interesting suggestions. Some people saying, if we don't know who has won, then they can both just be presidents, and one can rule from Monday to Wednesday, the other one from Thursday to Sunday. So interesting take of Kenyans showing how tired they were just because of waiting for the results. So we have that situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I think Raila's party is going to court to challenge that. And of course, when you see the behavior of the IEBC commissioners, that tells a lot. That tells a lot because it's never happened before. I know in 2007, before just post-election violence, the electoral commissioner chair, he just told Kenyans, okay, then, all right, I don't know who won. So when you tell Kenyans you are the referee, you don't know which team won. That was tough, But in this particular case, Kenyans' emotions were played a lot because whoever candidates you support, one morning, afternoon, you see them ahead. The other times you see the other one. So we want to give the process a chance to know exactly what happened, and I think that's only the court can determine.
And a bit like Donald Trump. Donald Trump said before he went to bed he was winning. He woke up and then he had lost.
Exactly. And it's not easy to accept loss when you thought you won,
Yeah. But in saying that, this is not the first time that Raila Odinga would have taken his case to court to for courts to actually look at the election figures again, would it? But this time around is different, I suppose.
Well, it's not the first time. I mean, we don't even want to go far. Last general election, 2017, Raila's party, NASA, took a petition to court, and Supreme Court nullified the win, and the country ordered the country to conduct another presidential election. And of course, if you remember very well, Raila looked at it and he said, I'm not going to participate in this election because the electoral commissioner was still the same guy who messed up in the first place. And he's still the same guy we have now. So we have a challenge in terms of going forward, but I think the courts will determine and show the country the way forward. One thing I love about Kenyans, our ordinary folks, you and me, they know we have to vote. When we're disappointed, there's this moment of I can't believe it, and after that, country will go back to normal. They keep working, and they tell their presidential candidates, go back to the ballot, to vote for you, but not to go to war, not to fight over election results.
I mean, if you look at the way that this election was conducted and the way that people voted, concentrating more on the voting aspect. What does it tell you compared to previous elections held in Kenya?
Kenyans have come much of age. John is voting in Africa. It's not like in the UK. the queues are very long.
Yeah, very long.
And you stay there for hours. It takes patience.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, for example, in Kenya, a voting day is not a working day. Yeah.
Okay.
And some people will go very early, 6 in the morning. All the places were open 6 in the morning, and they have to withstand the long queues, wait and wait until they vote. So when I see the people who turned up to vote, I think it's just really a very good picture, because you can see these Kenyans, they believe in changing leaders through the ballot box. Some countries voter apathy is pretty much high.
Yeah.
In some countries also, the chance to vote never happens. Some countries don't even exercise that vote. So it's a great thing to see youthful generation very much into voting. It's a good thing, in terms of democracy, because at the end of the day, they know they can change their leaders but through the ballot box. So it's a good thing.
And if you would just put on right now your prophet hat, as it were, and because there's been instances where in other countries where election results have been questioned, taken to court, but then as an outsider looking in, you could tell the court's decision has looked at the tension within the country and taking that into consideration. We're thinking, if we nullify this decision right now and to push for another elections or to rerun the election, this could create or exacerbate the tension. Do you foresee that here? Or just as they did previously, they'll also, if Raila Odinga's team are successful, they'll say, go back and rerun the election again.
Jonas, Kenyans are amazing lot. Kenyans know how to survive in difficult situations by cracking jokes about the difficult challenges that they face, which is very unique. And they are used to, Kenya main history in Africa, in the last general election 2017 was the first one to be, annulled by the Supreme Court. And we saw the same example happened in Malawi, because Malawi followed suit. Their Supreme Court annulled their presidential election as well and went back to voting again. So I think Kenya kind of set a precedent. But if there was anything that was delicate, it was 2017 elections.
Okay.
Because immediately it was announced. The leaders were so much angry about even the Supreme Court, and judges were called all sorts of names by even the current guys who are now in power. And you see, that being the case, Kenyans, the ordinary folks, you and me, they were like, if it was politicians' will, they would have gone to fight, but they were like every moment telling their leaders, well, whatever the outcome, go back to ballot box. We are going to vote for you, but don't tell us to fight. See, that is the thing. Last general election was full of drama because it was very delicate. The country had been split into two in a very powerful dynamics, and those dynamics meant if there's no good leadership, there was risk for the country to go to civil war. Look at it this way. You saw former Prime Minister Raila Odinga saw himself. So technically the country had two presidents. One who saw himself and the other one who was sworn, but of course the election was fraud. There was no substance in it, And that being the case, it was like the most delicate time for Kenya. But it is the ordinary citizens who hold Kenya together. They hang on there despite what happens. Challenges come, they start to make jokes about the whole situation. And in the end, Kenyans will always hold Kenya together. So even now, if the current winning will be nullified, I'm sure you see Kenyans go back to vote again, and they will still come out and let the politicians do their thing and let them carry on with their daily lives, as it has always been the case.
And finally, what a bit about William Ruto, because as it stands, he's the one that's been declared as the president, the 5th president of Kenya. And also 2 questions in one, actually. And what would be the legacy of outgoing president Uhuru Kenyatta? I read a quote somewhere where he said that he's tried his best. If he was unable to fulfill a lot of his promises, then Kenyans should forgive him.
You see, when these two started together, they were like very good brothers. They were happy, but they ended in a very divided way. They not even seeing eye to eye with anything. And it all started with the moment that I gave you that background of last general election, whereby former Prime Minister Raila Odinga came and spoke to Uhuru, just the two of them leaving their soldiers away, leaving their supporters, and just the two of them, they decided to have a handshake. And Jonas, this handshake brought peace back together in Kenya. Otherwise, the two comes at a very strong stance against each other. Now then, you see, when Raila came closer because of the handshake to Uhuru, and now the deputy, who was a very good friend to the president, he felt like obscured, and he didn't like the idea that Raila was near them. And he opposed the handshake. Even today, he just, one thing, if you want to know what he hates, just say handshake. You see him shaking head saying, no. He doesn't like it. Even yesterday after winning, the first thing he said was, I'm going to work with all my opponents, but I don't believe in the handshakes. So that's where the problem started for the two of them. And you see, ironically now, it ends up, they were the ones together with Uhuru opposing Raila.
Yes.
But now it ends up now, when general election 2022, Uhuru now supporting Raila.
Yes.
And Ruto feeling so pushed away, telling the country that deep state is going to fight him. All these kind of allegations he made.
Yeah.
And therefore, we see a situation whereby, although he has won in terms of the future, let me tell you something. In Kenyan politics, you find all of them are a bit more like mangoes from one plant, likely to have touched each other. You see, 2007, right?
Yeah.
Ruto was together with Raila. They were in the same party, ODM, Orange Democratic Movement. If you were to see how Ruto was defending Raila's win, and look at him today, you'll be so shocked whether he's the same person, So I don't see any bad blood. In politicians in Kenya, we know them, so we never take them serious. Because they can cause people fight, but after fighting, you see them, find them in the same restaurant, having a nice meal.
Yes. Yeah.
And therefore, we know that. And your ordinary folks like you and me, they know that. And that's why they decided we will never fight because of politicians again. So that's the beauty of it all. But going to say, you'll be shocked maybe even in terms of seeing Ruto consulting Raila, if Raila will be in opposition. So, but we don't know. We want to see if the process will be going to court.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll know very shortly, because the Constitution of Kenya gives the petitioners 7 days to produce their petition.
Sure.
And because of the urgency of the matter, in the new constitution also gives the Supreme Court 14 days to prosecute the whole thing and make a ruling. So it shouldn't take a long time.
Okay.
What cannot happen though,
Mhm.
what cannot happen, Ruto cannot be sworn until any petition against his win is heard and decided upon.
That's and I mean that's interesting because we had with Ghana, presidents will be sworn in before the case goes to court, before the court even decides on the case. By that time, the president has already been sworn in. But finally and briefly, Julius, about Uhuru Kenyatta.
Oh yeah, Uhuru has done a lot. He really has transformed Kenya in terms of infrastructure. Yes, borrowing quite a lot of it. All these Chinese projects all over the country, scattered across the country. But when you go to Kenya right now, even the capital city, oh my goodness, Nairobi is so amazing in terms of the infrastructure. You have all these flyovers, expressways, like you pay little money, but it will take you 15 minutes to go somewhere you used to take about 2 hours. Transformation across the country. We have now the SGR, despite its challenges and opposition, and also the idea that it costs a lot more, it's happening. Pretty much good infrastructure. You can take 4 hours from Nairobi to Mombasa, which used to take 12 hours before. And amazing, this train is just built on a higher place underneath. It covers all these animals in the national parks, which walk underneath without any obstruction. And amazing journey from Nairobi to Mombasa, enjoying all the wildlife. That connection still under Uhuru. So he has done a lot in terms of infrastructure. In terms also of development of the country, he has done a lot. And he was, John, is Kenya now they're building ships, right?
Yeah.
It never happened before, but now they are doing that. So he commissioned one about to begin to sail, in Lake Victoria, not long, soon. And what I've seen, which is amazing, was the focus of Africans make your own things, don't depend on like everything from the West.
Yeah.
And be scared of Donald Trump when he tells Africa, we are going to turn off our internet from you.
But and also this was a personal question, Julia. So if the new president, the new elected president, cannot be sworn in until the Supreme Court, if Odinga decides to take the case to the Supreme Court, until the Supreme Court has dealt with the case. So who does Uhuru still remain in power, or Supreme Court?
Indeed.
Or
Yes, indeed, because constitutionally, right, Uhuru is supposed to hand over to the president after the decision has been made by the Supreme Court. If there was no petition, then arrangements were already in place to hand over to the incoming president. But when there is no Kenya's constitution is really fantastic because it doesn't allow vacuum of power or vacuum of leadership, political vacuum of leadership, because it covers that. So at the end of the day, right now, because of these changes and what's going on, for continuity of the country, the current president is the one who stays in power. But after the Supreme Court makes a decision, the one who is the winner then is going to hand over power. But until that happens, Uhuru Kenyatta is still the president.
All right. Okay. Julius, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I'm sure we will speak again.
No worries. Have a nice one. Thank you.
That was Julius Beluto. Julius is a broadcaster and also a journalist. We had a phone call as I was talking to Julius. I don't know if the person's still online. Hello? Okay. Looks like the person is no longer online. You can call back, okay? 020-3735-8820. or 0778-793-9958. Interesting times ahead in Kenya. Excuse me. As I said to Julius, it's interesting because under normal circumstances, it is the opposition that decides to take the case to the courts. And then it's, the burden is on the opposition to prove that there were some irregularities in the process. But here we are. You have the independent body of the Electoral Commission actually coming out to say that the process was opaque, and as such, they will not be held or will not take responsibility for the results that were yet to be announced. So there's a possibility, and I'm glad I can make this assertion due to the fact that the case is not in court, so I can't make any assertion then which could make or impact whatever decision that the courts will eventually come up with. But I'm sure if the case goes to the Supreme Court, which I have no doubt that it will, what will unfold will be interesting. Really, really interesting. All right, let's read a few messages that have come in on the subjects that we've discussed today. 0203-735-8820, 0778-793-9958. These are the numbers you need to call or text. And before I come to the messages on Kenya, so there's a message here. Sawari Jacob from Larry. Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo gave Kola 15%. He's taking 48.7% through the back door. Teachers and other workers should shake yourselves again. NPP party is insensitive to our plight. Greetings, Honorable Bedi Zedeng, MP for Lara. Okay, so if you're wondering why we're talking about Nanado, earlier I did make mention of the fact that, sorry, I'm just reading some of the text messages that have come in. One thing just popped up on the screen. Earlier I did make mention of the fact that the former president of Ghana, Kufuor, his foundation, the CEO of the Kufuor Foundation, says that President Nanado should sack Ofori-Atta, Agyemang, and Afriyie-Akoto. Ofori-Atta being the finance minister, Afriyie-Akoto minister for agric, and also Agyemang, the health minister. He should sack them simply because the president said that he will not reshuffle his ministers. And I mean, I agree. It's not a matter of sacking or not sacking. It's a matter of reshuffling your ministers, because clearly the position that Ghana is in currently, a lot of the ministers have underperformed, and if you're not seen to be acting or to reshuffle, then you ought to be held accountable as well. You cannot just keep ministers in place if they're failing to produce. Let me know what you think, and messages have come in on that. But on the issue of Kenya, let me read this one from Kofi Ali. I think Kofi tried to call in earlier as well. I'm always open to have a discussion with you, Mr. Ali. So do feel free to call in. Right, democracy. This is from Kofi. Kofi is saying democracy is the only way by which the wishes of beggars to ride is peacefully transformed into horses, legitimately ridden by beggars. For the masses of West Africa to change their destiny, ECOWAS MPs must directly be voted to the regional parliaments. Okay, what is the use of democracy? Excuse me. If the election will not result in a peaceful transformation that allow people to change their destiny, the democracy of the poor West African countries whose smaller sizes condemn them to the will of the large and the powerful countries like the US, China, France, UK, EU shall amount to nothing. We can only make a difference by directly extending the votes into ECOWAS democracy, starting with ECOWAS MP. So that was from Kofi Ali. And I guess, Kofi, you would also wonder in the Eastern Economic region, the economic bloc of East Africa. I'm sure Kofi will also wonder there. All right. Let's take other messages as well. And this is from Afriyie. Afriyie is saying, Jones, good morning. I totally agree with you. I'm an MPP supporter. But to be honest with you, we have to be honest as Ghanaians. This current government have failed. If Nanado wants to change things, he needs to change his ministers. Otherwise, all fingers will be pointing towards him. If you speak to people on the ground, Ghanaians are not satisfied with the way Nanado's government have been operating. Okay, so that is from Afriyie. Okay, this is from Kwame. Kwame is saying, Jones, I agree with Nanado. No, I agree that Nanado has to reshuffle his ministers. After all, if people are not performing, you have to change them. I always link politics to football. If players are not performing well, what happens? Manager substitute them. Nanado has to. He cannot bury his head into the sand and think that Ghanaians can't see what is wrong with the country. Again, so many are not happy with Nanado's reluctance to reshuffle his ministers. Okay. This is from Abna. Abna is saying, good morning, Jones, and thanks for bringing on Julius. The scenes I saw on Sky News were appalling, but thank you this morning for playing for us to be able to hear something from Kenyans. We're sick and tired of the negative narrative by the West. Hopefully, if the opposition are not happy with what's happening in Kenya, they can take the case to court. Finally, on Nanado. Nanado has to reshuffle. He has to even reshuffle himself. Thank you. You have to. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the president cannot reshuffle himself, can he? You have to wait till 2024, right? You have to wait for 2024 to be able to vote. All right. Joseph. Joseph is saying, good morning, Jones. Good show as always. Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for the update on the Kenyan election. I wasn't aware that the Electoral Commission said those things. Well, if that's the case, then the opposition do have a case. On the subject of Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo, it looks as if the president in his second term has turned his back on Ghanaians. Things are hard. Clearly, the ones in position have failed, and he ought to do something. I supported Nanado. I still support him, but he must listen, and he needs to reshuffle his ministers. All right, keep your thoughts and comments coming in. Could you say good morning, Jones? For Nanado to say that it is the NDC who are and jobless people who want him to reshuffle his government, his government, clearly means that he's not listening to Ghanaians. Nanado in his second term has become Cratchit. I'm so sorry. It's about time he listened to Ghanaians. Well, for him, he's leaving. Break the 8? I don't think so. It will not happen. Okay. Oh dear. I think the text messages that are coming in. There's still a few that I need to read. A lot of people would like to see that, and I mean, you cannot have people 6 years in office. I mean, if they're doing great, then good. I mean, but then if you look at the current state of the country, the economy, things are not pointing upwards, rather downwards, and you need fresh ideas, fresh faces to be able to come in and hit the ground working, running, and be able to resolve the issue. All right. This is from Agnes. Agnes is saying Jones fought Nanado to sack the finance minister. Will never happen. That's his family member, and that will not happen. For me, just like you, I think he has to go. But here we are. This is Ghana. He's a family member, so the president will definitely keep him. On the issue of Kenya, thankfully, there's no violence that ensued after the declaration of the election results. I think the opposition will do the right thing and take the case to court. And I think they have a case. And I won't be surprised if the election has to be rerun again. Okay. The Agyemang is saying, good morning, Jones, to you and your listeners. As an MPP supporter, I agree with you. In as much as I support Nanado, I think he has to reshuffle his ministers. Myself, for instance, I supported Nanado highly, and I still do. However, I'm very disappointed in some aspects of his leadership. What happened to the corruption announcement? What happened to the people that were claimed to be corrupt? What happened to them being prosecuted? We're still waiting. Nevertheless, we shall break the 8. We still have faith in MPP. Okay. Sarah is saying, good morning, Jones. Thank you for bringing on Julius this morning. The long wait is over. But one thing that I wasn't sure, but Julius answered, is so who will remain at post whilst the opposition takes the case to court? Well, Julius did answer that question, didn't he? The current president will still remain at post until everything has been resolved by the Supreme Court. This is from Kwame. Kwame has texted in again this morning. Kwame is saying, Nanado has to reshuffle himself. That actually made me laugh. It's about time, Jones. He has not listened. His first term, compare his first term to his second term. There's a clear difference. Nanado in his first term looked like a man on a mission. In his second term, looked like a man sleeping. It's high time NPP people stood up and questioned the president. Yeah, Brett, meaning they're tired. Oh dear. Kweku saying, good morning, Jones, and good luck to our brothers and sisters in Kenya. Hopefully everything runs smoothly. Elections are, we're just meant to vote during elections. There's no need for violence. And just like you mentioned, Jones, the West are quick to show us the negative parts of the election. But here we are. Kenyans actually don't want any violence. Kenyans want peace. And as Julius echoed, Kenyans would make fun of this and then go back to their day-to-day. And that's how it's supposed to be. So well done to Kenyans. As for the question of Nanado, I'll reserve my comments for now. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's it. That's a bit strong. That's a bit strong in there. Nevertheless, keep your thoughts and comments coming in. I mean, look, this I like this, right? Because I think that a lot of the text messages that have come in have been constructive criticism. Nothing, personal. I don't think, unless I'm mistaken. Nothing personal. And this is what sometimes is missing when it comes to talking about politics or politicians or our leaders, especially in Ghana, when it's MPP, NDC, MPP, NDC. People get really, really personal. You can tell that even MPP supporters would want to see new faces. But the president doesn't think so. The president does not think so. All right, this is from Clement. Clement, good morning to you, Jones. Good morning, Clement. Hope you're well. I've been following you for some time now. This is the first time I've decided to text in. First and first and foremost, since when did GN start speaking English as opposed to Chi? Well done. I like it because you tend to realize that in the Chi language, people speak anyhow. The English is well controlled. We are in the UK. We all speak English. So I'm for speaking English on the breakfast show. Okay, thank you, Clement. Well done to Kenyans. We must applaud them because a lot of the time, when Africans go to vote, it always turns nasty. We like democracy. Let's give democracy a chance to work. I'm convinced that the opposition would definitely take the case to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court would then decide on what to do. Ghana, where do I even begin? By the president not reshuffling his ministers tells us one thing, Jones. Tells us that the president himself has failed. If he cannot see that his ministers are unable to bring in any fresh new ideas, that speaks volumes. And the president needs to know that his time is up. We will definitely not break the 8. Okay, that's from Clement. Wow. So many messages. Thank you very much. Irajwa, Mama Akosia, Sister Ifia. Sorry I couldn't read your text messages simply because my time is up. But what I would say is thank you very much for staying tuned this morning and sending in your text messages. The conversation continues on our Facebook page, our social media platforms. Keep the conversation going. I'd like to hear from you. Tomorrow we'll be here usually tomorrow, Wednesdays we're here to 11, but tomorrow we'll be here to 10 o'clock. We'll have a special guest who has written a book about Ghana for people who want to relocate back to Ghana for one reason or the other. She's written a book and she'll be here to tell us more, give us more information. Whatever it is that you find yourself doing today, make sure you look after yourself and stay safe. All being well, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. This is GN Radio, Morning Breakfast Show with myself, John Silver. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Want me a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing,